Hello, everybody. Welcome back to more Floor. We don't want to call it that, but we're still calling it that for the time being. Happy game one of the Eastern Conference Finals day. We got the crew in the building today. We got my man, Twan. We got Marco, and we have special guest, the villain himself, the man who calls it how he sees it, and people get mad at him for it. We got Threat. Threat, how we doing today?
I am ecstatic. It's game one day. Oh my God. Ice in my veins right now. I got chills on my body. We are here, baby.
Yep, we here. Twan, how we doing? Game one.
Hey man, we doing lovely. We got some great news right before we went live. The stars are aligning, ladies and gentlemen. If they fumble this bag, oh my God. But nevertheless, we're in a good mood. Game one is today, and I couldn't be more excited, man. Let's go.
Yeah, no, it's really it's a fantastic time. And Marco broke the news. I'll let him break the news on the stream here too for those who have not known already. So Marco, what is the great news that has Twan smiling like he just won the lottery?
Sorry, guys. I'm getting word that Al Horford and Marcus Smart are out for today. Al Horford for health and safety protocols, which could have him out for more than a week. That was my best reporter voice.
Listen, you killed it. Honestly, you killed it. So I wanted to get to like a whole bunch of things with the Western Conference first, but now that we got this news and we know what the script is supposed to look like for Game One, like I feel like all the pressure is on the Miami Heat for Game One, right? Does anyone disagree with that? Like if the Heat lose Game One, then you are pounding the alarm, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the pressure was on the Heat regardless of the injuries. It just magnified it. But whenever, a road team enters into a game one, it's always just still a game. Just still a game when they have the two games on the road and put the pressure back on that team. So I feel like the pressure was always there. The road team just wants to get out 1-1.
Okay, that's fair. Honestly, like that, if Boston came out 1-1, I think people would be looking at Boston as if they were going to the finals, for a multitude of reasons. But let's just get straight to this series because obviously, I think at some point you're gonna expect Marcus Smart and Al Horford to return. We don't know with Al Horford, so that could actually be like bigger ramifications on the series. But let's assume they're back for Game 2, right? So, how do you guys see this series playing out? I want to get an X factor. It doesn't need to be a specific player. It can just be a certain facet. It could just be 3-point shooting. It could be Tyler Hero driving to the rim. It could be Victor Oladipo's defense. But just give me one X factor. And Marco, I'll start with you. What's one X factor for this series?
I like how you mentioned Victor because I was going to go with Vic. I think the guys on the Floor podcast talked about it. I think it was Alex who talked about Vic because that's his guy. But I think it's Oladipo, maybe even probably inserting him into the starting lineup because I don't feel like this is a series for Gabe. Now with Marcus Smart out, I could probably change that, but I think with Victor, I could see him maybe starting. I can see Tyler starting. There's two guys that I can see Spo kind of, if they go down 2-0 or 2-1 or something like that, he's going to pull out his, Tyler card or his, Victor card, especially without Kyle. That would have been my biggest X factor was Kyle Lowry, but if he's out, then it's going to be the other guy who's going to be given rim pressure, which is a big thing for Miami. They don't get a lot of rim pressure outside of Bam Butler, and Bam doesn't create his own rim pressure. He needs, a guy like Kyle or, Gabe to give him a pass, and, those lobs up there. So I think it's really the rim pressure / Victor Oladipo maybe coming in and kind of changing the pace of the game and kind of killing Peyton Pritchard or whoever's going to be the backup now.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think I'm with Victor Oladipo being an X factor, but let's get the other ones here as well, because you pretty much just killed two birds with one stone. That's my X factor as well, is Victor Oladipo. But Threat, what's your X factor for this series?
Honestly, it's tough for me, but my X factor is got to be Tyler Hero. If you want to call him the X factor, I just feel like we can't go another series without that production. And I feel like he's one of the 3-level scorers on this team. When he's in the right state of mind, he can get to the rim with the floater. He can attack the mid-range. He can attack from deep. He can get the pick and roll going with Bam. I just feel like we need regular season 6th man of the year Tyler Hero to be who he was all season in this series because I don't think Boston is going to give him the same respect that we saw from the other two teams as far as the doubles and the zoning looks that he saw. I think they'll play him straight up. So he has to attack whatever's in front of him. And there's no more excuses at this point. I feel like we really our season is going to hang on what Tyler Hero can give us as far as production.
No, I'm with that. Listen, we've been. I feel like you and I, especially on the post game show, have been like the highest on Tyler Hero throughout the year, and been disappointed thus far. Right, like the production has really not been there. Like he's kind of had like that typical 6-man of the year fall off in the playoffs, where the production's not matching where it was in the regular season for whatever reason. I think the Hawks series was disappointing. The Sixers series, Doc Rivers for some reason said anybody but Tyler Hero, where Jimmy Butler was standing right there, and Doc Rivers had to pay for his sins. And I had a dream last night that Doc Rivers got fired, and it was a very good dream for me. But Twan, what is your X factor for this series?
I don't even think it's necessarily a player. I think the X factor is Spo, and he's the best. He's the best thing that we have right now. This is the best defense that you played in the playoffs. Obviously, I think this is the best defense not named the Miami Heat so far. I think like it's gonna be tough. Well, obviously the matchups are gonna look a little different with Marcus Smart and Al Horford out. That matters. But when you do get those guys back, these guys are going to be switching a ton. What does the offense look like? What wrinkles is Spo throwing in to maybe free some guys up? What is he doing to get Jimmy downhill? What is he doing to get Bam free? What is he doing to get 14 free? Like all these dudes, what is he doing to get those guys open? And then defensively, are we switching everything? Are we? And if they start attacking like Gabe and everybody and Tyler and Max Strus, if they start attacking that and it gets out of hand, what does that look like? What adjustment does he make? Because it's going to happen. That's who they're going to target. That's who everybody is targeted this entire playoffs, from Trae Young, Joel Embiid on up. Like everybody's going at these dudes. So what does that look like? What does the defensive adjustment look like? I think a lot of it's on Spo, but he's proven this playoffs, like whatever you want, your best player, you can try to get to whatever action you want to get to. Eventually he's going to figure them out. And
yeah,
nobody's been able to adjust since. So I think Spo is the biggest X factor going into this series.
I feel like the deeper a series goes, the more dangerous Spo is, because he just gets data. He's just in data collection mode for like the first 4 games of the series. And then it's like, all right, game 5, you know what? Let's pop out an adjustment here. Let's throw 9 different defenses at Trae Young. Let's throw 3 bodies at Joel Embiid every time he gets the ball inside the 3-point line. And it's hard to make adjustments like that on the fly, and it's harder to react to those on the fly. So like, Twan, I'm with you there. Spo has been ridiculous in these playoffs, and I know Ime Udoka is probably the best coach that Spo's gone against thus far. Like, I will give Udoka his flowers. He's been one hell of a coach this year. I was not opposed to him being in the top 5 for Coach of the Year. I thought he absolutely deserved it. He did one hell of a job with these guys, turning it around after what was a really, really rough start where some Boston fans wanted him gone after like 30 games, but they did not pull a David Blatt, and they gave him the chance, and Udoka's shining. So credit to Udoka, but Spo, man, like him against theoretically what is a rookie head coach, although Udoka's been around the block a little bit, you have to assume that goes in the Heat's favor, and that plus home court, and now plus some depth. Like we have 1 through 12 probably the best depth in the entire NBA. So things are kind of looking up for the Heat right now. We got some comments here. We got shout out Royal. I think he's giving 2 shouts out for the Kang Gang. There you go. Kang Gang will be making an appearance later tonight in the basement. That's for damn sure.
Yes, sir.
We got Jordan L. said Heat should stay small without Horford playing. Alejandro, if we can go back to that Heat should stay small. Marco, I want to get your opinion on this. I don't really know what small means for the Heat. Does that mean no Deadman? Because in that case, like I'm pretty with that. I think that's a good point.
Okay, yeah, if you put it that way, I'm 100% behind that, especially because they'll have to play the Williamses together. And after that, it'll be Daniel Tice, I guess. So that could be a good Markieff Morris minutes against Tice, because you're not really worried about him killing him on defense. And they play zone with Dedmon anyway, so it's not like it really matters on that end. So I honestly don't hate that. Spo, he loves him some Dedmon, though, and he's gonna take him away whenever he's got like 4 fouls in the first half. So your best hope is he probably gets into foul trouble and they go to the PJ at the 5 lineup, or they bring in Markieff. So either one of those options I'm kind of fine with, especially with, the guys that they have being out, especially Robert Williams not even really being fully healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also a huge thing, because Robert Williams has not looked like himself. Like that meniscus, that's not easy to come back from. Threat, you got something to say?
Yeah, I was about to get to Robert Williams. I'm curious to see. They said that he would not be on minutes restriction heading into this game. and especially with the Horford news. How much Rob Williams are we going to see tonight? Because he's coming back from an injury, on top of an injury. Are they really going to push the envelope in game one and risk further injury like how we see now with Marcus Smart? Like, what's the game plan for Boston here? I'm curious to see the chess match him and Spo are going to have, because I don't know if we seen what happened in 2020 with Bam Adebayo on Daniel Tice. I mean, it's a mismatch. It's disgusting. I mean, we saw oop after oop after oop. He got destroyed. So I'm so curious to see how he's gonna play his lineup and who's gonna play what minutes with this news breaking.
Yeah,
I also
it's
wanna
interesting.
see- Go ahead,
Twan,
go
go ahead.
I also want to see
fine.
what type of Bam we get. Is he going to put pressure on Robert Williams? Because the reason that, well, obviously Robert Williams was injured and everything looked a lot different for him. He wasn't the same dude. But Giannis went right at him. Like, it didn't matter. Went right at that dude. So is Bam going to put pressure on Robert Williams and force Ime Udoka's hands to get him out of there and force him to play Tice? Because a hampered Robert Williams and Daniel Tice, which there's little difference there in terms of just what they're able to do. So I'm interested to see if Bam puts the pressure on Robert Williams and forces him to move around and forces him to have to be a part of this defense or offense, whatever. Just force him to be in the action, force him to be in the play, force him to do stuff.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with Robert Williams because, like, theoretically, a healthy Robert Williams is a tough matchup for Bam. Like, Robert Williams, he's 6'8", he's not that tall, 6'8" without shoes on, probably the same height as Bam. But he has a 7'6" wingspan, and dude is athletic as hell. Like, he jumps out the gym. So he's a really, really good roll threat. He's a really good passer in the short roll, and he's one of the best shot blockers in the NBA. And this year, I think one of the reasons why he took that leap into being a DPOY candidate is because he kind of started to understand how to play in space too. Like, he was, as a help defender, one of the scariest dudes in the league. Like, you could probably put him up there with Jaren Jackson Jr. and Giannis in terms of, like, just pure, you do not want them on the weak side because they will erase things for you. I don't know if he's at that level right now, but that's where he was earlier in the year when he was fully healthy. It's interesting. Like, I'm really excited to see what Bam looks like because, yes, Al Horford's not playing. That helps Bam for sure. But Grant Williams and Robert Williams are still good defenders. Daniel Tice is... That's where Bam starts to level up and turn into 25, 12, and 8 or whatever. But it's still not the easiest matchup. So I want to see it from Bam, though. Like, Al Horford being out is a blessing for Bam because Al Horford is the toughest one, in my opinion, for Bam to go against. So he's got to show out. I think this has to be a Bam series, and the stars are kind of aligning a little bit. I think we lost Marco to some Wi-Fi, so we'll see if we can get him back. But any other words on this series before we get to the Western Conference Finals?
Quick, one more thing. I want to see how we're going to control the glass, especially tonight. Losing Horford, he 16 rebounds in the first game against the Bucks, and he had games with 11 and 10 twice, I believe. So I want to see how we're going to crash the glass. I believe we out-rebounded Philly all but one game, if I'm correct.
Yeah, Philly's a really bad rebounding team, which is weird because they should be better, but they're just lazy as hell.
They are. Hey, you saw it on the Jimmy 3 attempt, and then he went and got his own rebound and shot the shot again, and he was like, "Oh wow!" Like
PJ got 5 offensive rebounds on one play.
Like,
off of
wow!
It was shameless. Harden was just getting ran through like a bus, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, I think rebounding is definitely interesting because Boston is a team that I don't know where they stand in terms of overall rebounding, but they defend so well and they force so many missed shots. I would imagine they have a pretty good rebound percentage. I know that's part of the reason why they get out in transition is they force long jumpers, they take long rebounds, and they get out and run. And to Jason's question here, I mean, I guess, Twan, if you want to answer this, because you've been talking about Boston's defense for as long as I have, why are people talking about Boston's defense like Miami is not going to score?
Well, number one, they're really good. They switch everything known to man, so that naturally bogs down an offense. You can't. There are natural exploits that you can't get because teams are switching. And this team struggled to score against the Atlanta Hawks for stretches. Like sometimes the Heat, they just do that thing. And going up against a good defense probably makes that thing a whole lot worse. So that's why that's why it worries me about Boston's defense, because no, they're very good, and then this team they go through these stretches where they don't know what they're doing, and then Jimmy has to get into backpack Jimbo stage where he has to carry the team, and you gotta pray. So hopefully everything looks good. I'm not saying that the Heat can't score against Boston or anything like that, but we're going to see a whole lot of 89, 90 finishes, bro. Like, yeah. Get ready.
Like this, I know you tweeted out something earlier. It was like, what was it? Reggie Miller, 69, 67.
Nasty. As a
nasty hoops.
Back.
Nasty hoops. Like, that's the way that I think the Heat probably want to play this series. I think they want to play these 95 to 90 games. That's part of why I'm so confident is the Boston Celtics were not going to be beaten in the playoffs unless they played against an elite defensive team. Newsflash, the Miami Heat are an elite defensive team. So this is one hell of a matchup. I'm rocking with the Heat. If we want to get some picks in here, Threat, who are you rocking with this series, given all the information that we know right now?
I got Heat in 7. If you would have asked me this 2 weeks ago, I would have told you Celtics, probably in 7. And if you ask me again in 2 days from now, I might have a different answer for you. But as of today, right now, 6/16, 5/17, 2022, I have the Heat in 7.
Okay, there you go. Subject to change. Threat has Heat in 7. I like the Heat in 7 pick. I think this series probably will go long, but let's see what happens with Horford, because that's like a huge deal. And if Marcus Smart's not 100%, like, you're looking at a Boston defense that is still going to be good, but it's not going to be like elite, historically good the way that they have been for the last 40 games or so. Twan, who you rocking with?
So first of all, I just want to address a comment. Somebody was it Fernando Lopez? Ain't nobody. We ain't scared. We objective.
We asked for this matchup.
We're objective. Come on, my guy. Ain't nobody scared. But this is why the 1 seed matters. I got Heat in 7. I don't imagine either team is going to beat the other team on their home floor. I just think their role players have stepped up. You've seen it from both teams in the playoffs. Their role teams have played. Their role players have played incredible at home. I think you're going to get great shooting from Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, and I'm not going to mention the man's name, but the guy who won Sixth Man of the Year.
Caleb Martin. Oh, never mind. I seriously thought you were going to say Caleb Martin. That's my bad. Tyler Hero too. I think he will have a good series. For some reason, I still think Tyler Hero's going to have a good series.
I'm hopeful, Dad, because buddy, it's been bad. It's been very bad. But I think their role players are going to step up at home. I don't see a team beating the other one on the road. So this is why you get the 1 seed, Heat in 7.
Yeah. Yesterday I said Heat in 7. After hearing this, it might be Heat in 6 with Horford and Smart kind of still not being 100%. And it could be upgraded to Heat in 5 at any point. Like, the Heat are a damn good team. I think they have the advantages that really matter to me. And if they get some shooting regression in a positive manner,
they've been the best 3-point shooting team all year long, and then all of a sudden in the playoffs, it just doesn't work anymore. I don't know about that.
They're due at some point, and Jimmy Butler's kind of been keeping them afloat. Like, outside of Jimmy, I think they've been shooting like 31% from 3 throughout the playoffs. And this is why home court matters so much. You get your role players going in game 1. Give them that confidence. Let the ball fly. See the ball go through, and things can change. The last thing I want to say about the series is I really do hope they do go to Caleb Martin. If you want to go small, let's say like PJ at the 5, you go Caleb Martin at the 4, you go Victor Oladipo at the 3, or Jimmy at the 3, whatever it may be. Victor Oladipo at the 2, like, they have so much wing depth defensively where I'm feeling really good about them making life hell on the Celtics, because they have the best wing defense that the Celtics have seen in the entire playoffs, and it's the same vice versa. Obviously, the Celtics have the best defense that the Heat have seen. It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be really fun. And we got a whole bunch of talk.
Guard Derek White, so that always helps. You don't gotta guard somebody.
One thing I do want to add that I feel like not a lot of people are talking about, and I do want to put a little asterisk next to it, because it is the Bucks defense that allows people to take wide open threes. That's how their defense is built. The Celtics hit 110 threes in that 7-game series. I mean, to put it in the context, it's they shot 50. They made 53 more 3-pointers than the Bucks did in that entire series. That's the largest deficit, like the largest gap margin ever in NBA history, like in a series.
And that
So
series went 7. That's crazy.
we need
That's
to be mindful of that.
crazy.
They might be able to hit some threes. So we're gonna hit them with some shots, but they will respond. So we just got to see how we respond when they respond to getting knocked down.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it looks like we have Marco back with the Wi-Fi. I think the Wi-Fi issues may have been solved. Marco, can you hear us over there? Okay, there you go.
I just heard him go for like 10 minutes after he finished drinking.
So we're still working on the Wi-Fi here. Marco, feel free to talk at any time. We just want to make sure that you're doing okay over there. But I do want to get to the Western Conference Finals here really quick. I think this is gonna be one hell of a series. Like, the more that I think about this series, the more I think, wow, Dallas is, like, uniquely built to give Golden State some real issues. And I'm really excited to watch this play out. Twan, you're smiling, you're shaking your head here. It looks like you're feeling giddy about the Mavs. Are you... Just give me the rundown on this matchup. What are you seeing so far?
So, well, number one, you're going to have to figure out how Golden State answers the Luka issue. Because that is a problem that nobody has answered. Even the Clippers, who are winged to death, couldn't figure that boy out. So, and he's like a different animal now. He's rest in peace to the Phoenix Suns. That man just single-handedly destroyed that franchise. Step back after step back, laughing at DeAndre Ayton in his face. That is the worst form of disrespect. But yeah, Golden State gonna have to figure out the Luka thing. I think you start Maxi Kleber because I think he can just add so much from giving them space to things he can do on defense. Can move around a little bit. I really like Maxi Kleber. That's like my guy. See how the Mavericks get Jalen Brunson involved and see what the matchups are gonna look like. Who you put Draymond Green on? Are we switching? What does their defense look like? Do we start Kevon Looney? What are you getting out of Jordan Poole? Like, just so many things in this series, man. I'm so excited to see this. Like, from a basketball perspective, these two conference final series are like going to be phenomenal hoops, bro. Phenomenal.
Yeah, they're both going to be chess matches. Like, I think you have three really good coaches and one good coach. I'll let you guys decide who that last coach is. But listen, you have just defensive versatility. Like, all these teams can play a bunch of different schemes defensively, and it's huge. It's huge. You can drop, you can blitz, you can play half-court trap, you can play zone, you can switch. All that stuff to just throw at these superstar players, and it's really fun to watch. I can't wait for this series specifically because the Mavs, and credit to Maxi Kleber, they have probably the most underrated defense throughout the entire season. They turned into a defensive juggernaut. Like, the Celtics got all the noise, but the Mavs were doing pretty similar work. Like, they were doing crazy defensively, and a lot of it is due to Maxi Kleber. I think getting a more expanded role. He's probably the most underrated defender in the NBA, if I'm being completely honest. Like, he's 100%. That good. He is ridiculously good defensively. I've watched him do a lot of really rude things to some damn good players. So, I don't know, man. I'm excited for this series. Threat, what's the swing factor in a Warriors-Mavs series for you?
I'm gonna be real. It's I hate to say it. It's the most common. It's Luka. It's Luka. Period. Nothing else matters except for Luka. I don't know if you guys know this. I used to be a professional gamer. The offense that the Mavs run is what we ran when I was a professional gamer in NBA 2K, which is a 5-out offense, which is everybody space the floor and let your star player or a mismatch go to work. The fact that I'm seeing it play out in an NBA game is mind-blowing. It is the craziest stuff I've ever seen. I don't know if it's sustainable, if you can win a championship with it, because it's not a video game. This is real life. But, man, Luka's putting up video game numbers. So, for me, it's can they contain the 5-out offense? Can they limit when they do get a mismatch? Will Jalen Brunson be able to take advantage of a Steph Curry the same way he took advantage of a CP3? I mean, these are some of the questions. How to contain the 5-out offense? That's my X factor, if I want to put it there.
No, that's fair. Like, listen, the Mavs. It's funny because you think to yourself like, oh, the Heat run such a diverse offense. They run all these sets. They do all these pin downs, these actions, split actions, post, all this good stuff, right? And then the Celtics are doing somewhat similar. It's more drive and kick. It's more star powered offense. And then Golden State is very similar to Miami, where they just run like everything in the book. It's just they got like 30 different, 45, 60 different sets that they can go to if they want to. And then Dallas, it's like, okay, 5 out, just vibes.
Yes, bro.
and they cook. They just mismatch hunt, but the problem is Luka is far and away the best mismatch hunter that we've had in the NBA since who?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
That is a good question.
That's a good question.
I literally don't know. I don't know.
That's a good.
Right.
That's a great
so,
question.
Marco, I'll go to you here, and then I want your thoughts on the entire the Mavs Warriors series. Luka is the best mismatch hunter since who in the NBA? Because
LeBron.
Like 2013 LeBron?
Yeah, I say LeBron. I don't think it's anybody else. Who are you going to put there? That man's been doing mismatches since he's 18 years old, 17. Pro
Literally.
players.
It's I don't know, man. Like Luka is just he's ridiculous. Okay, so 2013 LeBron, I think that's a fair answer. Like LeBron could pretty much do
maybe.
2016 is also fair. 2016 would probably be better because you could also give it to Kobe like 2012, 2013-ish as well. But Marco, your thoughts on the Mavs Warriors series? Which way are you leaning and for why?
This is selfish because I just want Dallas to go in case Miami does, and then I can head up to Dallas, quick 2-hour drive up from here, and check out a finals game. But other than that, I probably still lean Warriors, but I don't know why. When I look at that team, that's not the same Warriors team I was afraid of 4 years ago, or even 3 years ago. Clay doesn't move the same laterally. Very prominently, he was actually attacked by the Grizzlies, and by the first in the first round, I forget the Nuggets. They couldn't attack him, but Aaron Gordon was going right at him like he wasn't the same Klay Thompson. And they're not the same kind of team that puts that fear in you. Their depth isn't as good. Those guys are really old. Otto Porter Jr., Andre Iguodala. I don't know why he's out there. The man wears suits whenever he's not playing. I'm like, when's the last time I saw a suit on the sideline? It was probably like 3 years ago. I just don't like their depth, but I just like their top end talent a little more than the Mavericks by probably a hair. I think Luka kind of the scales are really kind of balanced in terms of Luka, Steph, Dre, Clay, and Jordan Poole. I think it kind of has to end up being Jordan Poole's series to kind of take that pressure off of Steph. There was a stat going around that the Mavs blitzed Steph Curry the most out of any other player this season. They had success. They actually held them scoreless without a field goal in the fourth quarter of one of their games. So I think they're going to stick with that. The Tyler Hero stuff that we saw, it's nothing compared to what Steph Curry's going to see. So I think they're going to try to run that still. And the Warriors are going to be like, okay, we got to take care of these 4-on-3s or 3-on-2s and stuff like that. And kind of hopefully, Klay Thompson steps up and Draymond decides to actually score, or, they're going to need other guys to step up. But I'm hard pressed to pick the Warriors, though. I'm just picking them based on reputation right now.
Yeah, like it's like the Golden State Warriors. They still have the core pieces from the title run. Theoretically speaking, this should be a series that is probably done in 5-6 for Golden State because they have so much shooting and all that good stuff. But you start to get into the X's and O's and shit, and it's like, yo, what are they gonna do?
What are they gonna do?
It's like you don't need I don't think you needed Jordan Poole to be a superhero to get to the point where Golden State has gotten in these playoffs, but I think you almost need him to be a superhero to get to the finals, and that's a lot to ask for what is a 22-year-old Jordan Poole in his third year in the league, 1 year removed from the G League. It's not going to be easy for him to be that good in this series. This is going to be the toughest defense that they've seen. So I don't know, man. It's going to be a really fun series, but if we're breaking it down to Draymond needs to be more aggressive as a scorer and Jordan Poole needs to be a superstar for 4 out of the 7 games, it's tough. I don't know which way to go in this series. I kind of want to lean Dallas just because I think their defense is better than Golden State's right now, especially without Gary Payton. But I don't know, man. It's tough because Golden State has the shooting that can counteract Dallas's defense.
I want to lean Dallas also because I just feel like sometimes certain teams just get hot at the right time. and I feel like that really can spark a run, especially a Cinderella run, and that might be the story, man. I mean, everybody who we kind of expected to be here is kind of here for the most part. And I feel like Dallas is the oddball kind of in this scenario, even though they was a 3 seed in the West. I just feel like I'm not sure, you know. So we'll see how that plays out. I just feel like maybe they might get hot. Overall, though, I still got Golden State winning that series. If I'm being real,
Like
it's just
I
I
think
can't bet
so.
against Steph.
Dallas is just so hot. And like if Dallas cools down a little bit from three, they've been shooting out of their minds from three. They are not this good of a 3-point shooting team throughout the season. Like if Dinwiddie cools off a little bit, Maxi Kleber cools off a little bit, which is a huge thing because he could not shoot in the regular season. DFS is a good shooter. Jalen Brunson's a good shooter. Luka is Luka. He can kind of get to whatever he wants. Man, I don't know. I'm like still split on this series. My initial pick was Warriors in 6. Like when I first found out they were playing against each other, and then the more I think about it, the more I think it might go 7. I don't know. Twan, go ahead.
I'm going Golden State in 6. I don't know what they do about the Luca thing. I really don't. I think Steph's going to have a big series. He's about due to have a Steph series. So I think this will be the one. I really don't think they have any answer for what Luka Doncic does. They're just going to have to score a heck of a lot of points. And yes, you are relying a whole lot on Jordan Poole. But these are the moments that matter. This is what you waited all season for. This is what all that, all the Energizer Bunny stuff that he's done for their offense, all the times where he stepped up big and carried them for stretches. Like this is what you need it for. And yes, this is the best defense that they've gone against all year, well, all playoffs long. But I don't know, man. I can't like Threat said, I can't go against Steph Curry and the Warriors. I really think Steph is going to have a big series here. But in terms of how they defend the Dallas Mavericks, like you said, Gad, Reggie Bullock shooting the hell out the ball. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith shooting the hell out the Maxi Kleber. It is the same thing every time. Drive. Hey, we get an ISO drive kick. Somebody's open. Swing, 3. Bang. Spencer Dinwiddie's taking pull-up threes from like 50. It doesn't matter. Pulling them with confidence.
He's still shooting from Brooklyn. Like it does not make sense, man. Like they've been shooting above their heads, so like there definitely could be some regression in that regard. I'm getting very strong, like a watered down version of that was it like 2017 Rockets Warriors series where it was like, all right, the Rockets they might have the better defense. They might be tailor made to beat the Warriors. But at the same time, it's like the Warriors, they kind of just have runs that just take them out. Like they just beat the other opponent. Like they have like one big run in the third or fourth quarter of every game where it's just like, all right, game. So I don't know. I'm excited. Marco, I want to ask you one question here before we get to just some little hypothetical trades that we want to talk about. And I'll throw this around the horn. Who's the best coach in this series?
Ooh. Jason. I'm never going to pick Jason Kidd. I swear. I'm never going to pick Jason Kidd. I'm gonna stick with Steve Kerr.
Coaching his ass off,
because,
bro.
Man, I can't go there right now. I think he's done a hell of a job, though. He's made Luka actually play defense. There was an interview that they talked about how he was on his ass about, you're not defending out there. They're killing you. You're gonna have to step up. And Luka stepped it up in those last 3 games. They weren't killing him on those isolation. Jay Crowder stopped going right by him, which was embarrassing. So I can give some credit to Jason Kidd. He's done a lot of stuff also with the way they kind of defend their kind of one pass away more. They're not kind of giving up those drives as easily. But I'll probably stick with Steve Kerr. He has the experience. He's malleable. He knows what it takes to kind of get to the finals, to coach teams with a bunch of egos. There's not really that much egos anymore, except for, maybe Draymond. But I'm still going to give it to Steve because he's been there for 5 finals if he makes it to this one. So, but it's not to disparage, what Jason Kidd's done, because a lot of people like myself were kind of doubting him, but the man's proved that he's adapted. He's grown a lot since the last time he was a head coach. He coached that Lakers defense to a title as well. So I got to give him some credit.
Yeah, offensively, like Jason Kidd, I don't even know if there is a system. Like Threat said, it's literally just 5 out, and we'll just drive and kick, ISO, see how it goes. And the result is looking good right now. But defensively, he might be like a top 3 coach in the NBA. threat.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the top 3 coaches are Spo, obviously, Celtics coach, and then third Jason Kidd.
In the NBA?
In the NBA. Oh no,
Whoa.
And left in the playoffs.
Oh, okay. I was about to say we cannot slander my guy Ty Lue like that. That's crazy.
No.
Okay, I got you. So you're putting Kerr fourth. I'm
putting Kerr at fourth. I just feel like Kerr is just a glorified chaperone, you know. I said it earlier in the chat the other day. I said he's just a trust fund baby, just in basketball terms. He inherited something great and he took advantage. Yeah. Is the kid rich? Yeah, because he inherited it. Is Kerr a good coach? I mean, I guess he inherited a great team.
That might be a little far for me. I think he instituted a lot more movement in their offense, which kind of got it going a little bit more. If
the ingredients are already there, it's really hard to mess up good fried chicken if the ingredients are already cooked up. I mean, the ingredients are there. You know what I'm saying? You just got to chef. But Jason Kidd, his development is not spoken about enough. Look what he did for Giannis's game. Look what he's done for Luka's game. Look what he's doing for Jalen Brunson's game. He's empowering his star players and his guys who can really score the rock and taking them to new heights, bro. These guys are elevated. We're talking about, if we're just talking about his last 2 projects, we're talking about probably 1 and 3 best players in basketball.
You missed one project there too. What was the 2020 Lakers, where Frank Vogel, the defensive mastermind, as soon as Jason Kidd left that team,
yeah,
nasty.
Yeah,
it changed. It changed.
He's really figuring this shit out. I mean, I'm impressed with him, and his development. Period.
That's fair. Twan, who's the best coach in the series?
I'm going J Kidd, man. We ain't doing all. We going J Kidd, man. Just Maxi Kleber, bro. Maxi Kleber. Look what happened. He is a goon now. I was obviously like Steve Kerr is a good coach. He made a system that works. They still run the same stuff to this day, but it's more so like feel like, hey, if Steph Curry got a slower dude on him, hey, let's get to this dribble handoff. If it's not there, let's kick it to Draymond on the short roll. We might have shooters in the corner. Somebody helps off. We swing there. Like, it's a system, and guys got used. Well, not kind of. They got used to the system because you kept the same core. And now you just mix different pieces in, and now you may do some different stuff here and there, but generally it's just the same. Hey, y'all gotta feel we've been doing this for years. Let's just keep doing what we're doing and make adjustments out of that. Whereas Jason Kidd has taken a team who last year we were laughing at Dallas's defense, laughing at it because of how horrendous it was, and now all of a sudden they're a defensive juggernaut. The Dallas Mavericks. There is no defender on there where you like, oh yeah. For the Celtics, they got Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown and Robert Williams and all these dudes. In Miami, they got PJ Tucker and Jimmy Butler and Bam. And then you look at Dallas and they Maxi Kleber and Jalen Brunson and
Dorian Finney-Smith is
Dorian Finney-Smith. He is good.
Him and Maxi Kleber might be the 2 most underrated defenders in the league. Like they're such good defenders.
From a name perspective, you're not seeing it. Like
That's fair.
I just have one question. Outside of the 3 Hall of Famers that Kerr has on his roster, and obviously what he's done this year with Jordan Poole, who do you feel like has gotten really better under his coaching? Who has he developed?
I'll say Wiggins. He helped Wiggins, not in terms of numbers, but like in terms of actually becoming a winning player. Like he stopped taking those like 20-foot twos. He started defending more. Like if they win this series against the Mavs, it's probably going to be Wiggins has a big impact defensively. So I'll give credit to Wiggins. But yeah, like I think he took really good ingredients and he turned them into a great thing. I think that's like where I'll give Kerr his credit. He's a good coach. But
I mean he's a good coach. I'm just kind of disappointed in his 2 projects that he had, in the 2 draft picks that he had the last 2 years. I mean, compared to what the Heat do with guys who are undrafted, I feel like what he's done with the two rookies that he's had the last 2 years, I'm not too impressed with him, honestly.
I feel like they're a slow burning development team anyways. Like it'll take time for them. But I hear you. Like they're not getting immediate results, and they kind of need them. If you're gonna keep those picks, you kind of need immediate results. But I don't know. I'm still rocking with Kerr as a good coach. I'm not even gonna pick in this series because I don't care. I just want to watch good basketball. But I don't want to hold everyone too long. I want to get to some hypothetical trades, and I want to ask a couple questions here. So the Suns, obviously, super disappointing. Marco, where do the Suns go from here? Like, do they run it back? Do you make another trade? Do you try to get something else? Like, what is the game plan for the Suns?
Man, it's kind of similar to what Miami had last offseason. Was it you're going to run it back with the same group after a disappointing run, and are you going to bring back your old guy? Miami had multiple old guys, but some of those old guys were more role players. Chris Paul, he's the head of the snake. He's not a role player, so it's kind of like you're kind of choosing between two timelines right now, and it's either Ayton or you're going to keep Chris Paul for a little longer, and you're going to try to run it back with maybe a decent center and kind of allocate the money elsewhere, or you're going to keep Ayton and hopefully you kind of patch things up there, and you kind of run it back pretty much, and you maybe add another, say, PJ Tucker kind of backup four or starting four. For whenever Crowder kind of has those dry spells, which he can't have. I think he shot 11% in the first round. Second round, Jay Crowder shot 50% in the second round. That man is absolutely hot and
That's
cold.
got to be the most Jay Crowder stat I've ever heard in my entire life, man. Like, I saw a video the other day that was just trolling him because, like, what is his bag? His bag is, like, screaming and boxing out.
And one. Yeah, he can pass, though. I'll give him that. He passed really well in Miami. I'll give him that.
Oh, sure. He's a connected passer on the perimeter.
Yeah. But they need more in terms of physicality, I think. And that's kind of the stuff that DeAndre Ayton comes in, because he's not a really physical guy. And you kind of hope for that internal development maybe next year. You don't have to sign him to this deal this offseason, but it's kind of like a really dark thing hanging over your whole team if he doesn't sign.
Oh, no, he's restricted free agent.
This year, or is it next?
Yeah, this year.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think it's a really tough choice then, because I think you're probably gonna have to sign him or sign and trade him for something that brings you back win now kind of guys. Like, but they're not.
We'll
too
get
old.
to those trade packages. We'll get to those because I came up with 3. And then we'll do a little bit more, but yeah, no, I definitely agree on that. The Suns, like, they're in a really precarious spot right now. Like, I don't really know if there's a right answer for them, which is not where I anticipated them to be. Obviously, they were the best team in basketball through the first 82 games, and I don't know, what was their record in the playoffs? They went, what was it? They won 4, they won 3, they went 7-6 in the playoffs against the Pelicans and the Mavs. That's not great. But I want to add, Twan, I want to ask you here. So the Bucks, obviously, they lost. Chris Middleton was out. They weren't 100%. They didn't really have that good of a bench. They kind of got cheap in terms of letting PJ Tucker walk. Do they stand pat, or do they try to swing a trade like a Grayson Allen plus somebody else? And should they pay Portis and Connaughton?
I think you do. I think you do pay Portis and Connaughton. They work for what they do. Connaughton can defend. Bobby Portis, I don't like the dude, but for as much grief as I give him, he plays well with them for some reason. He makes timely shots, can grab rebounds, and can defend in space. So you kind of live with that. They're good enough. They don't need to don't need to make a big move in order to be right back here next year. They were missing their guy and still went to 7 games with the best defensive team. Well, the second best defensive team that is left in the playoffs. So you do need some real shooters in there. Get Pat Grayson Allen up. There is nothing. He gave you nothing in the Celtics series. Absolutely nothing. So pack him up. Get somebody else who can actually shoot and maybe defend. And then you'll be right back to where you were this season. I don't think they have to make a big swing.
Yeah, best player in the world and a supporting cast that actually fits him. I don't really think there's too much to move. Threat, I know you agreed with that earlier on in the or before the show actually, and so I want to get some hypothetical trades here because Threat, I know you love packing people up. I know you love to shake things up a little bit, but we're not gonna do it about the Heat today and any of the teams that are still alive in the playoffs because they got series to play and there's a bunch of teams that just lost, so we can talk about them a little bit more. I don't give a shit about the 76ers, so I didn't really include them in this, but I do want to ask about DeAndre Ayton. So I'm going to throw one DeAndre Ayton package to each of you. Tell me who says no in this hypothetical deal. Threat, I'll start with you. DeAndre Ayton straight up for Pascal Siakam. Who says no?
Toronto has to say no. Toronto has to say no. Ayton, this was a max year for Ayton. He earned his money kind of in the regular season, and then he lost it in the playoffs in the last game, particularly, which is crazy. I don't know, man. Something about guys quitting just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know if Toronto would feel the same way. Pascal's homegrown as far as what they developed with their guys. I don't think he moves the needle for them. That would be a dead in the water trade for me. I say Toronto says no.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, Pascal is clear of DeAndre Ayton. Probably clear in terms of value also. So I feel like Phoenix would have to add something there, especially if you're considering you get Ayton on a max contract, which is likely what he's going to get on the open market. This one I think is more interesting. Twan, DeAndre Ayton and 2 firsts for Rudy Gobert and Bojan Bogdanovic.
There's no question about that. That's getting sent in. I think Utah sends that in immediately. That's an immediate upgrade from an offensive perspective, and a guy who's actually somewhat athletic, who can actually do things around the rim offensively. And while he isn't the defensive stopper that Rudy Gobert is, there are no stoppers on Utah whatsoever. So he fits right in there. Like they don't defend anyway. So yeah, I think from Utah's perspective, that's a money trade. And for Phoenix,
they say no. It's like Bogdanovic is the real kicker there because he's exactly what they need. Yeah. But Gobert objectively could either he's an upgrade defensively, but he's a downgrade offensively. And
he's ugly for them offensively.
What do you really need more? I don't know.
Yeah,
that one's stumped.
I mean, Phoenix. If there was a no, it would be on the Phoenix side because of the Rudy Gobert thing. But yeah, it'll probably would be a no from the Suns if that were to happen because of the Rudy Gobert thing. But other than that, I think like that's a good trade. That's a solid DeAndre Ayton trade. The 2 firsts is rich, but. Yeah, it's a lot. I just assume that they're going to be at the end of every single draft, or close to the end of it. But Marco, you look kind of shocked while we were saying that. Do you have any specific thoughts on this?
I think it's just the Bojan stuff because I don't think he's that much of an upgrade on this roster. I think he's an upgrade over a guy like Jay maybe in the playoffs, but I don't know. It's the Rudy Gobert stuff. I think it's fine, but I think you could probably find another center out there that would be better fit for this roster, but Rudy's not a bad, return. The 2 firsts kind of might be too rich, like Twan said, but it's not something I don't see. Zach Lowe mentioned it on his podcast that they were actually looking to move him for Sabonis. There was really small talks about that.
They wanted to move DeAndre
Ayton for
Sabonis?
A lot of stuff. Yeah.
James Jones, what is you doing? Oh no, that's terrible. What? Okay, but that's wild. But Marco, I'm gonna go back to you here. This is probably my favorite one. I think it's the most realistic. I think it makes the most sense for both teams involved. DeAndre Ayton, you can add something to DeAndre Ayton if you feel like it's necessary. Personally, I don't. DeAndre Ayton for John Collins and Clint Capella.
I don't hate that. If I'm Atlanta, I'm taking that. And if I'm Phoenix, I'd probably find somebody to take Clint Capella's contract pretty easily. Yep. I think that's probably the thing is Clint Capella's contract is pretty movable in that deal, and you could probably get even better upgrade after that. So I don't hate that.
Yeah, like you could take Clint Capella and maybe attach him to like a Cam Johnson, get like a Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. I don't know, something like that. You could figure some stuff out with that. But I like that deal. Threat.
Two things I want to say. One, with the trade scenario, what about for the Suns, a trade like a Christian Woods and Gordon off the bench for their 6-man rotation for Ayton. And for the Rockets, you have Porter and you have Green and you have your anchor and big man so it makes sense for them. And with the second unit for the Suns, you have Gordon and Johnson leading it, and then you have another scorer who could stretch the floor to pair with Devin Booker.
That's very interesting. I feel like Christian Wood, in terms of defensively, would probably be a little bit more of a liability than you would like. But at the same time, like that would be pretty interesting. Maybe
I mean, that is real cute.
if you're
That's
Phoenix,
do.
you throw in a first round pick and you get Jayshawn Tate too.
Mm.
Then you might be cooking a little bit.
And then the second thing, I know we kind of brushed over the Bucks, but I do feel like they should probably add something. I don't know a trade package, but maybe try to get something out of Utah with either Ingles or Clarkson. Get that 6-man off the bench, because right now
Bogdanovich.
I don't fear a 6-man on their bench.
Yeah, that's fair. They do need a 6-man. I think Clarkson could actually be on the move there. I don't love Clarkson as a player, but like he fits the bill kind of what Milwaukee needs, because their offense, they have 3 players they run offense through, and that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have that
really
fourth guy
right now. They could really use like Bogdanovich
from
in
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Well,
they could
almost
really
had him,
use him right now
and
if
then
they
they
didn't fumble the trade.
That would have been
But
been,
we're not going to talk about it.
God
Especially
that
with
didn't
how
go through.
ridiculous he was against the Heat, hitting everything known to man. Buddy, he could help that team so much.
Yep. No, absolutely. I do want to move to the last 2 trade packages here. So this one, Twan, you know, we love Memphis here on More Floor. We love Memphis. We think Memphis is a very, very bright future. So I want to throw out a big name and then a not so big name. So first package. I know I've said Bradley Beal would make a lot of sense there. I think they might need a little bit bigger of a wing, someone that's more of like a 2/3, because Desmond Bane is there too, and Desmond Bane is good. Like he's a good starting 2 in the NBA. He's a really good player. So Dylan Brooks, Zaire Williams, Steven Adams, and 2 firsts for Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine has to choose Memphis in this scenario, but if he does, Bulls really can't say no.
What was the first name that you gave? Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks,
Zaire Williams,
Steven Adams, and 2 firsts.
Adams and 2 firsts for Zach LaVine. I would try to keep Zaire Williams if I could. I just like him there. He's fun. He catches lobs, and that's about it. But if I'm Chicago, I say no. I'm not doing that, even if he does choose it. Like Dylan Brooks doesn't move the needle for me. He don't. He can do some stuff sometimes, but no. And then Steven Adams, don't do it for me. Can't even get on the floor in the playoff rotation. The two firsts are fun. That could get fun. But,
that's the kicker, because you're getting 1 playoff role player, 1 player with playoff role player upside, in my opinion, and 1 player who's a regular season role player. So you need 2, maybe even 3 firsts in order for it to make it work. But at the same time, when organizations let their players go to the unrestricted free agency market and they try to do a sign and trade, it does not work out that well. Restricted free agency, you probably get good value. Unrestricted free agency, you will end up with Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa, or you will end up with Josh Richardson straight up. That's just how it goes. Marco, this is the next trade. First of all, do you have any thoughts on that first trade? If you're the Bulls, are you saying no? I'm assuming.
Yeah, for now, I'll probably say no. The 2 firsts, depending on how good they are, but Memphis, they're probably going to be really good. That'll be like in the 20s, so I don't know. But they're kind of enticing, so I can kind of see a universe where that happens.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so this one I think is one that would make a lot of sense for Memphis. This is kind of the missing component in my opinion. They need that floor stretch 5. They need that guy that can space the floor and just shoot threes from wherever corner above the break, shoot it from 30 feet. I don't know, but they need that guy, and I think this makes sense for both sides. This is probably my favorite trade of the ones that I came up with outside of Ayton, Collins, and Capella. Zaire Williams and Steven Adams for Miles Turner. Who says no?
I don't know if anybody says no.
I think they say yes.
Maybe,
I think they both say yes.
Maybe Memphis, because they're scared of, the injury history with Miles, but that might be the only hang-up will be a physical, so I actually don't hate that. That answers kind of a lot of questions. Miles has to be a better shooter, though. He's kind of an overrated shooter, but at least he takes them.
But I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. is too. Yeah, so for both of them, it's the threat. It's like, okay, they close out. Jaren Jackson Jr. can attack closeouts, but simultaneously, you don't want Jaren Jackson Jr. being your only anchor to the defense. You want someone that can actually play in the playoffs. Miles Turner fits that bill. He's on a pretty decent contract. You could probably end up re-signing him if you pay him enough money. Listen, I'm just saying, this is one to look out for in the offseason.
A bargain deal that you probably kind of wake up to and you're like, oh, somebody made this deal. That's not bad for both sides. So that's kind of like a deal you would realistically see.
This is a deal that Memphis would do because I don't think they're going to come swinging for the fences. I think they're going to try to rely on internal development a little bit more until they try to get that next guy. But anyways, those are our 5 trade scenarios. We got Mike Jones in the comments saying, talk about how much potential the Pelicans have. Do not worry, this is a pro Pelicans stream. I personally said that they are going to be the next Memphis Grizzlies, where they are a team that can make some serious noise and finish as a top 3 seed in the West next year. When you add Zion back, you have maybe a couple more good moves in the offseason. They knocked their draft out of the park last year. Some development from those young guys. Pelicans are going to be really good really soon. I'm excited for them. I think they have a very, very bright future, although at surface level, I didn't love what David Griffin did in the offseason. It all worked out, and he looks really smart right now. So credit to them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Game 1, I can't wait. Heat, Celtics, 8:30, 8:45 technically, because TNT, ABC, ESPN, they like to fuck us all over like that. But we're gonna be here
at 1 a.m, bro.
No, that's exactly what it's gonna be.
Crazy.
I am going to be sleepwalking my way to post game, unless Pepas is playing, in which case I'll be dancing and salsaing up the stairs to do post game. But that does not matter. Hopefully the Heat get a win tonight. Let's see what happens. Any last words from the panel for the people before we go?
Hey man, we excited for game 1 tonight. We packing. We smoking loud on that Boston pack. Get ready, man. Get ready, man. He is 7. I can't wait, my boy. Some good hoops.
I don't know about that, Twan. I don't know about the good hoops. But you're gonna get some nasty, nasty hoops, in my opinion, in a good way. Like, this is what we want to see. This is how the Heat win. So I can't wait. Marco, any last words?
Final score 70-68. Heat win.
PJ Tucker, player of the game, 9 points, 6 assists. Let's go, baby.
That's right.
Let's go. No Heat players, no Celtics players in double digits today. We are rocking with straight 6, 6, 7, 7, 8 up and down the board, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. Threat, the guest, man of the hour, thank you for coming on first and foremost. Always love having you on. You always call it how it is, but any last words for the people?
Hey, 2020 Bubbles Run Hero out of bio this series. Bookmark it.
Okay, there you go. Hopefully.
Man is giving 14 praise. It's time to end the stream, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to end the stream.
No, listen, I'm with Threat. I need to see it, and I'm going to speak it into existence. This is going to be a 13 plus 14 series, so I will be tweeting the number 27 multiple times throughout the game tonight. Because I love to do math and confuse people.
Not again. You got me.
No one's going to know what I'm talking about but the people who watch this stream. But anyways, shout out y'all. I think there's going to be a Spaces on, like right now, pregame Spaces. Threat, are you hosting it?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so Threat's hosting the Spaces. You know it's going to be a damn good time. I know there's going to be before the game. There's going to be some stuff going on during the game. We got halftime Paces and Spaces with Marco and crew, I believe. So we got halftime Paces and Spaces today. And then you always know where to go. Hashtag The Basement. Late night YouTube stream. The post up on 5R. Hosted by Royal A. Shepherd. With a few of us here. And we're going to have a blast. Win or lose. Although it should be a win. It's going to be a fun time. Make sure you consume all the 5R content you can get. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And if you're going to use Prize Picks. I don't know if we're still sponsored by them or not. But make sure you use promo code FIVE. Put in $100, get 100% back on that $100. So you will get whatever money you put up to $100, you will get matched by Prize Picks if you use that code. Go ahead and use it. Throw some, I think Tyler Hero's line is at like 14.5 or 15.5. Put some money on Tyler Hero tonight.
Don't do that.
Put some money on Bam Adebayo tonight. Hit the over. They're going for big games tonight. They're going to go for... Actually, no, they're not, because it's going to be 70-68, like Marco said. So, don't do that. Take the under. But don't do it for Heat players. Just take the under on the Celtics players because you never bet against your own team. And have fun watching these games, guys. The Heat are in the Eastern Conference Finals for the second time in 3 years, the same way as the Celtics. And the Philadelphia 76ers haven't done that shit since I was born. So maybe they have, but I'll lie. That's it. That's the stream. Hope you guys had a great time. And go Heat.